Hello and welcome to the Persona 5 tier list. I'm not really going to explain this one, I'm just going to jump right in. You should all know what a tier list is, I assume. So yeah, start with Yusuke. Yusuke, for me, probably an A tier. I definitely see a lot of realism in his character. Like, he sticks out to me as a very realistic character, and he's also a very interesting one. Lavenza, I don't find as interesting though. So she's going straight into C tier. Fumi Toga. Her confidant mission was not amazing, so I think probably a C tier. But I, I mean, these characters are only low down because I have very high standards for this game. It's yeah. So Makoto goes straight to A. Her confidant's not that great, but her awakening is just perfect, excellent. Can't really think of a better awakening. Next up, we've got Akumura. And I think for me, Akumura probably a C tier. Like, he's not the most interesting villain. He doesn't really do anything special. He dies, but when that's the main trait you've got going for you, you can't really expect that much out of yourself. On to Kamaki. I think probably an A tier. I promise I'm not going to put the whole cast in A tier. But yeah, she's very interesting, very friendly, and just an enjoyable character to spend time around. I think B tier for the Death Doctor. I mean, her confidant's pretty fun to do. And B tier just feels reasonable to me. I mean, she's not like super prominent throughout the game. She's not the most interesting character, but she's not. She, in my eyes, she's better than the three I've got in C. Ryuji, my boy, has got to be, I think, an A tier. The only reason he doesn't get S is that he's just a bit too rash in my eyes, you know? A bit too overconfident. Akechi, probably an S tier. I loved his little psychotic breakdown. That was really fun. I know a lot of people aren't quite so keen on the twist that happened there, but I do think it makes sense. I do understand why he lost it. And next up, we've got Morgana, another S tier. Apart from him, one moment right at the start of Akumura's palace where they completely destroy his character for no reason. He's he's just he's really lovable throughout the whole game. Joker is a silent protagonist, so I wouldn't have expected myself to want him to put him this high, but he's still got a lot of personality, and you really connect with him as a player. So I'm putting him in S tier alongside Morgana and Akechi. I think C's reasonable. You know, it's just another confidant. He gives you guns, which is a little bit concerning. Speaking of another confidant, though, D for Chihaya, not that great. Overrated in my eyes. Okay. Futaba, I think it's probably an S tier for personal reasons. Futaba is best girl. There is no questioning that. Speaking of best girl, here we have Igor, and I think for me in Persona 5, he's probably a B tier character. I mean, he's interesting enough, but nothing quite as special as the people in A. Now we're on to some of the villains. Kaneshiro. I mean, I'd say Kaneshiro is maybe more of a B tier villain than an A tier. I was going to put him in A tier because I really did enjoy his presence, but ultimately he's not quite as threatening as he puts out there. He's in reality he's just a fat man who's balding, and I mean his boss fight is just a fly, so that's pretty down putting and not and the second half isn't even him. So Madarame, I love Madarame as a villain. He's such a good representation of the deadly sin of vanity. Amazing, beautiful, but horrible person, obviously. But he's definitely like an enjoyable villain to beat. I think Shido for me is probably the same. Again, very compelling villain. I'm not sure why Eagle's on here twice. Probably should have checked beforehand. I don't know why my brain just kind of skipped over that. So he's going in beta. Oh, is that meant to be Yodabelth? I mean, Yodabelth can also be a beta for like. I mean, I think Shido should have been the villain of the end game personally. He was the one that had like the most presence throughout most of the game, and they just kind of threw Yaldabaoth in there because it's a JRPG, and everyone knows you've got to end those by killing a god. I mean, it's basically in the scripture. Miss Kawakami, the teacher, probably an A tier for me. She's one of the best confidants in my eyes. She's just a really enjoyable character to get to know. Get wrecked, the gamer boy. Me? No, not me. Me if I was good at video games. You know what? He's going in D-tier because he's a bit annoying. As for the public speaker guy, Mr. Yoshida, I think. It's been a while since I've played, so I don't remember all their names. I'm very sorry. He's going in B because he's an enjoyable confidant, but he's not all that prevalent throughout the game. Wakaba is only going in D because we barely see any of her throughout the whole of Persona 5. I mean, she seems like a nice mum and all, but she's also kind of the reason Futaba was so upset. Well, part of the reason Futaba was so upset because of abandonment issues. Mishima is probably another A tier for me. For whatever reason, I can really relate to him. He feels very real to me. Because I've also thought about myself in the same way that he does about himself. Thought about myself. This isn't meant to be therapy. What am I doing? Sojiro, another A tier character, maybe even S. You know what? He's S because he's the dad. I would have given him A if he just looked after us and was a bartender, but no, he's got to be S. This is a bit controversial. Haru can go in B tier. I didn't find her all that compelling during her story arc or during her confidant. I mean, I wish we got to see more of her throughout the game. She'd been one of the original members, and then maybe I'd be a bit more attached to her. Sai, also probably a B tier character. I mean, yeah, she's part of the overall narrative, and she does a lot of things to help you, but ultimately, is there much point in her? But she's not like a great character, and there's not really much point in putting her higher. Kamoshida, terrible, terrible Olympic gold medalist gym teacher. He has to be, not that I've ordered any of the rest of this, but he has to be right at the top of S. This man is the best villain in any video game, I will say that now. He's very much a real person, but he's also so terrifying. And seeing his palace through his distorted eyes, just wow, really blew me back. That has to be the best first dungeon of any video game. I mean, you could tell me a different one in the comments below if you so wish. But I honestly don't think there's a dungeon that can compare to Kamoshida's palace in any video game, particularly as a first dungeon. And last but not least, Ahaya. She's a D tier. Not really that much to say about her. She's not a particularly interesting confidant. She doesn't come up that much. I think that's about it. So I will see you next time. Bye.